All right. Hello, everybody. This is my second attempt at doing a video. Hopefully this one is shorter. Don't have a baby, I just have a dog today, so I won't ramble as much, hopefully. I know it could be shorter. So wanted to do a video to talk about my experience with postpartum depression and postpartum anxiety. So I'm going to try to do kind of a shorter version of it and just kind of give, I guess, facts or what matters the most. So I've had depression and anxiety pretty much my whole entire life. I suffered with it since I was probably about 14 years old and have always been on medication. When I want to say like 26, I stopped taking the medication because I just wanted to know what it felt like to be off of it, and I was pretty much okay for the most part. And then when me and my husband decided that we wanted to have a family, I decided to stay off of the medication, and I got pregnant last August, and a week after I found out that I was pregnant, I experienced a miscarriage. And when I had the miscarriage, that set my anxiety and depression back in full swing pretty bad. So I started back on a low-dose antidepressant, sertraline. And I was told that that is the safest medication for you to be on if you're pregnant. It's the safest thing for baby. But I always just thought that if I was going to be pregnant, I didn't want to be on any medications. So I had a lot of anxiety around taking that. And I honestly, after I had the miscarriage, didn't really think that I wanted to have a child. I just thought that God had me have a miscarriage because I was just not meant to be a mom. And he didn't think that I could handle it. And I ended up getting pregnant in December, right around Christmas time. I found out that I was pregnant, and I was very scared because I was taking medication for my depression and anxiety, and because I didn't think that I could be a mom or that I was meant to be a mom, even though I've wanted children my whole life. So it was really, really hard for me to enjoy the pregnancy because I was constantly worrying about having a miscarriage. Every time I went to the bathroom, I was always looking to see and anticipating that I was going to be bleeding and that I was miscarrying. And that made it so that it was really hard for me to enjoy the pregnancy. And I ended up having to increase the sertraline up a little bit because my anxiety was just so bad around it. And around probably like 4 months is when I kind of started to really be able to kind of start enjoying the pregnancy and enjoying my belly and stuff like that. So I was at 50 milligrams of sertraline, and the whole time that I was pregnant, my OB and my regular primary care physician, they know me very well. I've literally had my primary care doctor since I was 14. And nobody really ever mentioned or talked about postpartum or the fact that I was at a much higher increased risk of experiencing postpartum depression and anxiety from already having postpartum depression and anxiety. It was never talked about, it was never really discussed. I didn't even really know much about it, and I work in the medical field as a medical assistant, and I didn't know anything about it. I thought it was really weird that they didn't do anything or talk to me or, I guess, like, kind of make a plan that if it did happen, this is what we were going to do, or if you started feeling these symptoms, like, you need to tell us right away, or it just kind of baffled me that it just wasn't talked about. And I ended up going into labor 3 days 3 days before I was due, and I went in on a Wednesday. Um, had him. The labor was pretty. I wouldn't say like traumatic, but it was, in a way, it was traumatic to me. I didn't want an epidural. I ended up getting an epidural. When I had went to the hospital, I was already 5 centimeters dilated, so I thought it was going to be pretty quickly. I thought I was going to have him pretty quick. And then his head got stuck. His head was stuck for 4 hours, and that was horrible. If there are any moms out there that have done labor without an epidural or pain medications of any sort, I fucking applaud you. You are amazing. Just know that. You are fucking amazing, because I lasted 4 hours and I was like, get me the fucking epidural now, because this shit is real. I can't deal with this. So if you did it all natural, you're amazing. So his head was stuck for 4 hours, ended up having to do an episiotomy, and as soon as he came out, I was relieved. I was exhausted. But I loved him. Like they put him on me, and I felt a lot of love for him, but it was like my anxiety and depression immediately set in, and I was like, "Oh my God, how do I care for this baby? How do I do this? What do I do?" And I ended up breastfeeding him. They brought us to our room, and my husband, I had him, so I went in at 9:30. I went in at 9 o'clock in the morning, and I ended up having him at 6:30. So my husband left probably around like, I don't know, I want to say like 9. And because we had animals at home, and I didn't want him to be uncomfortable, and I knew he was tired. So when he left, and I tried sleeping, I couldn't sleep. Every sound, like, he was such a noisy baby when he was sleeping, that every little sound that he made, I was awaking to, and I constantly was like checking to make sure he was still breathing. I would like place my hand on his chest to make sure that I could still feel him breathing, and just panic and anxiety just set in. And for the whole 2 days that I was at the hospital, I didn't sleep. They took him into the nursery. I still couldn't sleep. They were bringing him back to breastfeed like every 2.5, 3 hours. I was miserable. I was crying literally every single day, almost every hour on the dot. I was just crying. And sometimes I didn't even know why I was crying. I was scared. I was having anxiety. I was having depression. And finally, one of the doctors that came in to check on me the next day, that was actually one of the doctors that helped deliver him, was like, we need to increase your medication. And I was like, cool, let's do it, because I feel like shit. Increased it to 100 milligrams, and I still was I was a wreck. I didn't even recognize myself in the mirror. My eyes were so puffy that they were almost swollen shut. My face was puffy. My eyes were bloodshot from just pushing so long and crying so much. And I just kept thinking, I can't take this kid home. I can't take this baby home and care for him. I begged the nurses to let me stay there, like literally begged them. I was like, I can't go home. I can't deal with this baby. Like, when he was crying and I couldn't console him, my anxiety was just like, oh my God, like, something's wrong with him. What's wrong with him? Why is he doing this? Why is he doing that? And just so much anxiety about worrying about him and how I was going to sleep, because I hadn't slept. So after they sent me home, so I went home on Friday at around 4 o'clock. Got home and I thought to myself, I was trying to think, like, I was telling myself, I can do this. This is fine. I've got this. I can do it. I am meant to be a mom. Then nighttime came, and he was up every 15 minutes. No joke. every 15 minutes. He was wailing. I was breastfeeding him, but at the same time, my milk hadn't come in, so I was using donor milk along with him breastfeeding on me. So when he was breastfeeding, I'd have to take a syringe, or my husband would have to help me and like put a syringe next to my nipple while he was on me, so that he was getting my colostrum plus the donor milk, so that he was getting full. And I was doing this every 15 minutes. I was changing his diaper, I rocked him, I swaddled him, I did everything, and the kid just, he was screaming bloody murder, like somebody had killed him. And at 1 o'clock in the morning, I finally called my mom and I said, I can't do this. Like, you need to come here. There's something wrong with him. My mom came over. She spent the night with me in my bed, and he was just up every 15 minutes. Neither of us, nobody could console him. Like, he was mad pretty much. And my mom ended up coming downstairs, and my husband was sleeping on the couch, and my mom ended up sleeping in the reclining part of the couch with him on her chest, and that's how he slept a little bit. And when it came morning time, around 7 o'clock in the morning, she left, and I literally felt like I was gonna go insane from not sleeping for 3-4 days now. It was like I was having like racing thoughts almost. I don't want to say I was like hearing voices, but it was like the thoughts that I was having in my head were going super, super fast, and then everything was just like blah, 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 and like super fast. It was scaring me. I felt like I just couldn't do it. I wanted to get in my car. I wanted to leave the baby and not leave my husband, not be with them at all. Like, just leave permanently. And I was having anxiety attacks, like literally every 10 minutes. I would start like, my heart would start racing. I'd feel like this warm sensation come over my body. My heart was just like a mile a minute. I kept thinking that I wanted to like, I didn't have like an action, or like I wasn't going to actually kill myself, but I kept thinking that like I would just be better off dead, and I didn't want to be around. And I was like, maybe I can just like go down a bottle of pills, and then I was like, no, that's stupid. I can't do that. Like, they're just going to pump my stomach. It's not going to kill me. And I was like I was like thinking these things, knowing that I wasn't going to do them, but it was like scary because I was thinking them, and I was trying not to think that way, but my brain was doing that. And so I called the doctor's office, and they had me go back into the maternity, or the birthing unit had like an ER type thing for mothers who had just given birth. So I went, my friend took me back in there at around 11:30 that morning, and I was there until about 4:30 or 5 o'clock. They had me meet with a psychiatrist who gave me lorazepam, which I didn't want to take, and then just sent me home. And I went home, and my mother-in-law actually stayed that night on Saturday night to kind of do the overnight with him and help me. And I still just didn't sleep. And they were just like, oh, you need to sleep when the baby sleeps. And it's like, the baby doesn't fucking sleep. He doesn't nap. He doesn't sleep. He will not sleep unless you hold him. And I can't hold him and sleep safely because I'm so exhausted that I'm afraid that I might let go and drop him, or he might roll, or I might flinch and like he might fall off of me onto the floor. Like, I can't. I hate when people say sleep when baby sleeps when you have a baby that doesn't fucking sleep. Like, no shit, I want to sleep when he sleeps. Of course I do, but I can't because he doesn't sleep. So gets me really mad. So I went back into the hospital another time, and then I ended up getting, a nurse had mentioned to me that there are night nannies that can assist with overnights with babies. And I was fortunate enough that my husband was able to afford for us to have a night nanny. The company that we went through actually did a sliding scale fee for us, so we got one at pretty much, I think, more than half of what they usually get. So I had a night nanny for the first, I want to say 2 months that I had him, and he didn't sleep for her either. Like it was just so stressful, constantly crying. I constantly said every single day. My mom was here every single day with me when the nanny wasn't here. The nanny didn't do weekends, but my mom was here with me Monday through Friday. From the morning when she woke up, she'd stay here until my husband got home from work. And every single day I would say, I don't want him. I can't do this. I need to give him away. I need to give him to a family that will love him more than I do, that will care for him more than I can care for him. I can't handle this. And everybody just kept saying, like, it's going to get better. He's going to grow out of it. It's going to get better. And he literally just started sleeping decently the last 4 weeks, and he's 4.5 months old. And I just remember I loved him, and I love him. I love him. I loved him, and I still love him. But when it got really hard and he would cry or he wouldn't sleep and I was exhausted, and I like tried napping when my mom was here and I couldn't nap for more than 2 hours because I kept hearing phantom cries, but I just wanted to give up. I begged my husband so many times to just let me give him to a family, or to let me drop him off at the fire station, or at sometimes I would just say, if you don't let me give him up for adoption, then I'm leaving. Then I'm just going to leave. You can keep him, and I'm going to go and start my life somewhere else, somewhere new. And like, you can keep him and take care of him. That is like the worst feeling in the world. The worst feeling in the world is to want to be pregnant, get pregnant, have a miscarriage, have a baby that you carried for 9 months in your body, and then for him to come out and you just can't enjoy it like everybody says that you're supposed to enjoy, like this infant baby stage, and like you should just love your baby, and you look at them and you just connect with them, and then to not feel that and just want to give up and give your baby away is a horrible feeling. I literally would never wish postpartum depression and postpartum anxiety on my worst enemy. It's the worst feeling ever. And the things that really helped me was, 1, seeing a psychiatrist, 2, seeing a therapist, 3, having a support system. So my mom, luckily enough, was here every day to help me, or I was at her house because I couldn't be trusted to be left alone because people were afraid that I was going to hurt myself or that I was going to drop him off at a police station. And having my best friend, did a couple of overnights with him. I think she did 2 overnights with him, which helped me. And I don't have like I have a Facebook account, but I don't have like pictures, and I don't have friends and anything like that on Facebook because I hate Facebook. So I pretty much just went and made a Facebook to go on to the postpartum depression and anxiety support group that I think that one of the doctors or nurses had mentioned to me. That truly helped me, being on that site and seeing that other people were feeling like I was feeling, or feeling worse. Like I read posts on moms who were saying that they wanted to throw their kids out the window while they were driving down the road, and I was like, okay, maybe I'm not that crazy. But just knowing that other people deal with this and other people go through it really helped me. And I'm still going. I'm definitely not as bad as I was. I do have my days where I say that I just want to give up and I can't do it, because I currently stay home with him. And I have not gone back to work because, 1, of the anxiety, 2, the depression, 3, the anxiety around bringing him and dropping him off at a daycare with strangers that I do not know. I just don't trust people. And my mom, with her disabilities, is not able to care for him every single day. And then the lack of him, like, not sleeping. The littlest amount of him, like, the littlest amount of lack of sleep that I get, if he doesn't sleep that well, even if I got, like, a 4 or 5 hour stretch of sleep, if he's up 3, 4 times a night, the next morning, like, forget it. I'm like, I can't do this. It's like it instantly sets me back, the lack of sleep. And people don't understand is that lack of sleep, sleep deprivation, is actually used as a form of torture in some countries. So when you are sleep deprived, your brain is just, it's playing tricks on you. Your brain is not, it's not sane. You literally feel like you're going insane, and it's a horrible feeling. So I just want I want any mom out there to know that if you are going through postpartum depression and anxiety, the best thing that you can do is speak up. I was so scared to speak up and say something, like some of the things and the thoughts and the ways that I was feeling. I was so scared to say something because I was afraid that they were going to take my child away from me, or they were going to put me in a mental institution because I thought I was crazy. But I got reassured, and I don't know if it's different in other states, but here in Maine where I live, I just got reassured by the psychiatrist. If you speak up and say how you're feeling, and you are actively getting help, and you're taking medications, and you have a support system, like I had my mom to help me, like, nobody's going to take your kid away from you if you're trying. What's When somebody is probably going to step in is if you're saying that you are going to harm your baby, and you have actions or thoughts of doing that, or to yourself, and you're not seeking help. Like, you're refusing medications, and you don't do therapy, and you don't come to your appointments and stuff like that, then somebody's going to step in and probably look at the situation, and assess it. But that is the most important thing that you can do. If you don't have a support system, I am letting you know that I can be your support system. I will help you as much as I can and be there just to talk to you. I know that staying at home and being here day after day, because I was so scared to leave the house with an infant, and just having my mom, my mom and me don't really get along that well, was driving me more insane. So having somebody to talk to and kind of relate with really helped me. So I just want to kind of lend and open my arms to any mom out there who feels like they don't have a support system, and somebody doesn't understand what they're going through, and you need somebody to talk to. I can FaceTime, I can message you, I can text you, I can be on the phone with you, whatever you need. You're not alone. The way that you're feeling is not, you're not crazy. There's nothing wrong with you. You are going through a tough time, and it does slowly get better. Like I said, I'm not 100% better yet, but I definitely feel a lot better than I did when I came home with him that first day from the hospital. So anybody out there that needs help, or just an ear to have somebody listen to them, I am here for you. And just know that you're not alone. And the best thing that you can do is have support. If you can get a therapist, I highly suggest one. I have one. I'm actually going to see her right now. I see her once a week, even if it's just to, like, have somebody to listen to you if you don't feel comfortable talking to, like, a stranger like me, or a friend or a parent or something. My therapist and me have a really great relationship, and sometimes I just go in there and I just dump a bunch of shit on her, and I just tell her how I feel, and I just rant for like an hour, and she just listens to me. And sometimes that's all I need, is just somebody to just pretty much word vomit all over her, and then I feel better. So yeah, 24 minutes. Hope that's a little bit shorter. Hope that you can watch or listen to it, and I will do some more shorter videos on other topics to try to help people. Hope you have a wonderful, great, fantastic, sunny, bright, amazing day, because it's sunny and bright here, which helps with depression. If you are depressed too, open your windows. Open your shades and get light in your house. The light, I swear, sun just makes me feel so much better when I see sun, even though it's cold. Get light into your house. Don't be a hermit and like have your shades closed and having it really dark in your house. And self-care too. Self-care is really important. I had time to straighten my hair today because my mom took my son this morning so that I could go to my appointments today. If you have a few minutes, if you don't need sleep and you can take a few minutes to yourself, even if it's just like 10 minutes, just to sit, relax, take some deep breaths, brush your teeth, brush your hair, put on a little bit of makeup, do anything for yourself, do it, because it will make you feel so much better. And I am here for anybody that needs me. Have a great day, guys.